Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of this Truma Combi D6 installation video. We are going to remove the fuel tank and sort out the fuel line and connect our fuel line from the fuel tank right up through the van and into the unit. So let's get started. So the next step for the Truma installation is to remove the diesel tank from the van, which we've done, and then we need to remove this tank valve here. Basically this just unscrews from the diesel tank itself. Now we've given it a clean, and what we need to do next is we need to drill a hole and we need to insert this tank connection here. So what we're going to do is we are going to find a flat spot on this tank valve here. So this tank connection will fit flat, and we've got a good spot right here in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole, and this is going to basically sit in there. When you're removing your fuel tank or replacing it, it's best to grab a mate because it's quite a tricky job and it can be heavy, especially if your fuel tank is a little bit filled up. In this case, we've got my mate here, Julesy.
Big guns.
He's come to give us a hand. So we've installed the fuel line into the diesel tank. Now we're going to mount the diesel tank back onto the van. So, ready, Julesy?
Yep.
Is it good?
Get easier.
Yeah. Hey!
Oh, too much.
So the next stage in the installation is to install the exhaust muffler and the extraction duct, and that's going to go from the Truma unit itself to the cowl that we've installed. So let's get going. Okay, so we're going to fit the exhaust muffler to the cowl, and what we've done is we've put the hose clamp on, extraction duct, and then we're just going to compress that in, and we are going to push the exhaust muffler into the cowl, and we're going to push it in as far as it will go. You want to make sure this goes all the way to the end. So we'll have, also you want to make sure you've got the right end. The end with the O-ring faces the unit, and this other end here faces the cowl. So we'll push that all the way through. You can hear it gripping on. Press that in a bit more. Okay, so that's as far as that will go. So now, just to secure the exhaust muffler from coming out, we're just going to screw, there's a little grub screw that comes with it, and we're going to screw that from the top of the cowl and then into the exhaust muffler so it can't come loose. Nice. So now I'm going to slide the extraction duct over the muff on the cowl. So you see these little grooves here, these little teeth. You slide it over that. Just make sure it might have been compressed. Okay, there we go. As far as it will go. elbow grease. Okay, so now get your hose clamp. So once you've got your duct onto the cowl, you just want to tighten up your clamp. Just tighten this up, making sure it's square and not on an angle. Okay, you don't want to tighten up too tight because you'll end up choking the pipe. Okay, as long as it can't twist. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now we're going to fit the exhaust muffler and the duct to the unit. Now what we need to do is first of all get our hose clamp and put it on. Now make sure your O-ring is on. Ours actually wasn't on, we had to go and find it, it fell off. So that, make sure you've got your O-ring on, your muffler. Now, just put that up there. What we want to do is push our muffler into the cowl. Alright, so we've just inserted the exhaust muffler into the unit here, the muff here, and we've pushed it in really tight, and then we've just put this locking clip in. That stops it from falling out. So now we're just going to put this ducting on, bend this around, and same again, this goes over the top. So once you've got your duct on, just tighten up your hose clamp. Right, so now we're going to fit the air intake muffler. It's got a longer end and a shorter end. With the longer end, we have actually trimmed it just so it will fit. It says that in the instruction manual. So we've done that. Now we're going to fit it to the cowl first. So what we're going to do is going to grab our clamp here, put that on. Basically just push it on as much as it will go, like so, and then tighten up our clamp. Okay, so now we do the same on the unit side, just putting our clamp on and then just bending this like so until we get it right on. There we go. Now let's tighten up our clamp again. Alright, so we're going to put our ducting in. You'll hear it sort of like click on the ribs of the ducting. Push that in as far as it will go. Now in the kit you get these little sort of screws, and you just screw them in on each outlet here, and that will stop it from coming loose. So we're going to mount our fuel pump to the underside of the van. Now it comes with this little bracket, and then when you connect it to the bracket you just have to make sure that it's on this 15-degree angle, and you want the intake side to be this side, and you want the pressure side, which is the higher side, that's got to be where the electrical connection is. So now we're going to mount this to the chassis of the van. There's already a couple of holes in our chassis in the Iveco, so I've put a riv nut, an M6 riv nut with a threaded nut into a hole, and then I've just drilled a hole into this bracket. So I'm gonna bolt that to the chassis, and then this bracket also comes with an M5 washer and nut here. So what we can do is we can just drill another hole just to make sure it's totally secure, and then we can just feed another bolt. So I've got a bolt coming from the side and a bolt coming from the bottom, and that should lock it in place. And also another thing to remember is you've got to have the intake side around about 2 meters or less from your diesel tank, so from your supply, and then you've got up to 6 meters on the pump side to get to the Truma. So in other words, you want this pump closer to your diesel tank more so than your Truma unit itself. So, and another thing as well is you want to make sure that you're not mounting this too close to like the exhaust muffler, and if you are, you need to create some sort of like heat shield so it doesn't get hot and burn like your fuel line. So we're going to get under the van now and mount it up. So we've just ran the fuel line from the diesel pump up into the Truma, and we've just installed the fuel pump. As you can see, it's pretty tight under the van, but that's how we've done it. You just got to make sure it's on that 30-degree incline, 15 to 30 degrees I think it is in the manual. It is a little bit close to this muffler, so what we might do is we might get some, you can get this wrap and it will wrap around the muffler and it makes it not give off so much heat, just in case, because it does say in the manual do not have it near the muffler, or if you do, you need to create some sort of protection so it won't heat up. So we'll probably do that. So we've mounted the pump and we've ran the fuel line from the diesel tank to the pump, and now we're going to run the fuel line and the 12-volt pump cable from the fuel pump up through the van and to the unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole through the floor to allow for the fuel line and the insulation around the fuel line, and also the conduit with the 12-volt cable in it. We're going to have to drill a hole to allow both of those to come through. Now the hole saw that I've got is 24mm. Hopefully that is big enough, because it's the only one I've got. Also, you want to have your hole roughly, this is where the fuel line goes here. It taps into there, so you want it roughly just below there, just to make it easier. We've drilled our hole and we've got our cable for our pump and also the fuel line routed through the floor of the van, and we've also got another hole here, and this is for the pressure release valve for it to release out under the van. We've cut it on an angle because the front of the van is that way, and when we're driving nothing will go up. It will sort of shield it. This bit here will shield it from any like debris and dirt that or wind when we're driving through. We've also put a conduit around the cable, and we've just cable tied them both together so they're nice and protected. So it's a little bit awkward under the van here, but we've got this heat wrap that I've wrapped all around the muffler that we spoke about, and then we've got our fuel pump mounted just there. Got our fresh water tank mounted here. Okay, so this is our freshwater tank outlet, and we've got a John Guest 12mm pipe here fitted to our freshwater tank, and that goes up through the van and to our pump, our SureFlow pump. So we've got our freshwater tank undermounted on the bottom of the van. That's a 110 litre freshwater tank, and then we've got a John Guest fitting from the outlet, and that goes up through the van and it comes up through the floor there. Then we've just got an elbow comes up, and then we've got a isolation valve there. That's just so if we want to isolate the line and work on the pump. From there it goes to the pump, and then we've got a SureFlow pump, and then from there we've got a pressure reducer that comes with the kit, and then from the pressure reducer we've just got a T here, and then we go down, and then it goes to a, behind here we've got a non-return valve, and then from the non-return valve we've got the drain valve. We've got the drain valve there. So basically how it works is the water gets pumped up with the pump from the water tank, and then from there the water comes through into the Truma Combi D6, and then once it is heated, the water comes out here, and then we've got two lines. So we've got one line that goes up to our sink, and then this other line goes through the bottom here. It's hard to see, and that goes to our shower. Very simple. Just follow the diagram when you're installing it. Just follow the diagram. Everything's labeled. It's clearly marked how it all goes. Very simple to follow. Didn't have any troubles with it whatsoever. Just when you're also doing your plumbing, just make sure that you're pushing your push fit fittings right in and then giving them a tug back, and that will give you a secure seal. And also with your hot water fittings, make sure you're putting the little clips in, because these get hot and they expand, so you want to make sure you put your little clips in as well. But apart from that, real easy system, real easy setup, and that's how we have done it. All right, so a couple of things to note with the plumbing, just a couple little handy tips. So we got this here, and it is made for the John Guest pipe, 12mm pipe, and basically you just, it's kind of hard to do it with one hand, but you just put your pipe in and it rests in the slot there, and you've got a little cutting blade there. And what this does is you just get your pipe in, and when you press down, it just gives it a nice clean 90-degree fresh cut with no burrs on the ends. This stuff is real tough, and if you try and cut it with, like, say, a Stanley knife, you're not going to get the best cut. So this here is really handy and really simple to use. Also, when you're doing your hot water with your John Guest fittings, make sure that there's a line. You'll see like a line here on your fittings, and that's where your pipe should go all the way to. You should be able to push it all the way there. And also when you're measuring your distances, a good way of knowing how much you need is just to measure from that line to the other line, and then you'll know. And then also these are the clips for your hot water, and these go, once you got your pipe in, these go in there. They go in there like that, if you can see. These, you really need these, especially on your hot water, because the pipe will expand and then you don't want it to pop out, because it will. So that there. Oh, and also we just used any sort of 12mm clips, and that was just to mount our John Guest pipe to the back wall. Yeah, but in terms of, like, you know, ease of use, the John Guest system, really easy, really simple. Yeah, you can't really go wrong. So I've just taken off our electrical cover here, and it is all wired up. It is pretty self-explanatory. Everything fits into its corresponding spot. If it doesn't fit, then it does not go into that place. But just follow the manual. The only thing that you've got to really worry about here is the wire to power the Truma has got to be 6mm cross-section wire. So make sure it is that size or bigger, and you'll be fine. Okay, also for our electrical, we have mounted our control panel in our overhead cabinet, and we've mounted it just here where it's easy access, but it's not, you know, on display outside, because we only need to access it when we want to use it. So there's two cables on the back of the control panel. You've got the tin bus, and then you've got the 12-volt like power cable. Now the 12-volt power cable has got its own 1 amp inline fuse, and then we've also hooked it up to our fuse block, and it's got a blade fuse. And then you've got the other cable that connects to the Truma Combi itself. Pretty easy. They just clip in the back of the panel there, and also when you're mounting that and connecting it up, just make sure you've got no power to your battery. Just hook it up first and then hook your battery up. Alright, for our ducting, we've got our first vent here at the front in between the cab and the living space. Now, this actually goes behind the shower. So there's the Truma, it goes behind the shower and comes all the way around. There's the front driver's seat. It comes around to here, and then, I don't know if you can see, but basically it comes through, and then we've just put an elbow on there, and then we've got the vent here. Another thing too is these vents, they only come in black, and we wanted them white, so we painted them. We have a door here, and it is on a magnetic catch, and what we did so the hot air can still go through is we just routed out the lines so the heat can still come through. We've got another vent here, then I'll show you the other two. One here, another vent there, and then we've got our ducting here. Two ducts coming through from the Truma. Pretty simple, just come with these clips, and then you've just got these elbows. We had to order these separately, or a few of them separately, because there wasn't that much in the pack. Also with our ducting, we had to order more because the kit that we got, there wasn't enough, and our van isn't even like a big motorhome. So yeah, if you're gonna get it, then just look at how many meters you're gonna need, because you might need to order some more. But yeah, basically it just comes through. We get our vent there. Really easy to do the venting, guys. The ducting, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just push it in, put the grub screw in, and then if you need to make an elbow bend, just make an elbow bend, put the grub screw in so it doesn't come loose. And if you want to hang it on the wall, etc., you just mount these holding brackets. Real easy. Okay, so now what we're up to is we are going to do the initial startup of the Truma unit, and the first thing we have to do is we need to fill the fuel line. So it's going to suck the pump is going to start up, and it's going to suck the diesel from our fuel tank, and it's going to suck it up the line, and it's going to bring it up to the Truma unit. Now what we've got to do is we've got to turn on the control panel here. So I'm going to hold it down, and that should turn it on, and then something should happen. Yeah. Alright, so this is the control panel, and I'll just give you guys a rundown. So there's two knobs. This one here is your back button, and this knob here is your control button. So to turn it on initially, you just hold this down and it will turn on, and to turn the control panel off, you just hold it down and it will turn off. Now that's the time, but it's the wrong time, so I press it here and you've got all your different functions. So that's your temperature for how hot you want the heating. So you click on that off, you got your different temperature there, and then you just whatever, and then once I hit the enter button, it will go to that temperature. I'll go back. So the next one, this is our hot water. So click on that, and we've got boost. There's three settings. You've got boost, 60 degrees, or off. So we've got it on boost at the moment, and now that's flashing, so that means it's working. And this symbol here means that it is the diesel. It's the diesel. the diesel one. We've only got the one option. So I went under the van and I could hear the little pump ticking away, and that was priming the line. That is the fuel going into the Truma. So you know the fuel is flowing and going into the Truma. So now we just wait until it stops flashing, and then that will mean that the water's heated up. Okay, so we can see that the symbol hot, well, we changed it from boost to hot. We weren't too sure if boost was bad for the initial startup, so we changed it to hot. Just takes a little bit longer for the water to heat up, but it stopped flashing, which means it should be hot. So now we're gonna test out our water and see if it goes hot. So I'm gonna turn our pump on first, and then I'm gonna turn our tap to hot, and I'm gonna see if we get hot water. Oh, look.
That's
Oh, whoa, that's hot. Wow, that's cool. Better turn it down a bit. Right, so now Emily's gonna check to see if we've got hot water in the shower.
And check for leaks.
All right, pump on.
Oh, no way!
Yeah?
Yeah!
Yeah! Hot water.
Hot water!
Have a shower.
Yahoo! That is nice.
Now that the van is built, we have our Truma Combi D6 installed, and it is working like a dream. So I'll just run through a few things about the Combi D6. I remember at the start of the video we had it sort of in the center of the van. That was just so we could get an even distribution with our ducting. Our Truma Combi D6 is under this lower cabinet here. We've hidden it nice and tidy in this cupboard. Now, the Truma Combi D6 has to draw air from this open living area. So in the manual, you just follow the manual and you just have to do a 150 centimeter square vent. We've installed just this plastic lure vent here, and then we've just got the Truma Combi D6 placed inside there. We've installed our air temperature sensor just in this cupboard here, and that will just get the current temperature inside the cab. Control panel we have mounted just in this neat, tidy overhead cabinet here. This is the control panel. There's a wheel, and then that's also a button, and then there's the back button. So when you want to turn it on, you just hold this button down. That will turn on, and then you've got a few different settings here. So this first one is for the heater, and if you press it, you can just set your desired temperature that you want inside the van. And then you just press the button, and then it will just turn on and it will start to heat at that temperature. And then you can have just the fan. You can just have the fan on. If you want just air blowing through, you can have timers, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, pretty easy. I'll turn maybe the heater on. So we'll set it for 23 degrees. 23 degrees. Press it. All right, so when it's flashing, that means that it is heating up. So that's the hot air,
And you can see it
blowing through. So we've got 4 ducts, and they are all vented. So we've got one here. So that's the first one.
Perfect.
Woo! It makes the floor really warm, almost like we've got heated flooring. So that's the second duct, and then the third one is here. And then when we're sitting up here on our table, we've got another one there just to keep our feet nice and warm. So here in Australia, we have an awesome company called My Generator, and we get a lot of our, like the Truma Combi D6 hot water system from there. You can get fridges from there, all sorts of stuff. So if you're looking at getting a heater and hot water system, a Truma, or anything really, head over to My Generator, and if you spend over $300, you can use the code ESCAPE20 and you can get a $20 discount. But we'll leave all the details in the description below in the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and we hope this video was informative. We hope you learned something, especially if you've got a Truma Combi and you want to install it yourself. To be honest, it wasn't really that hard. You just have to follow the instructions and make sure you're doing everything correctly. Also, just make sure that your wire sizes are right, because if your wire size is too small, you will cause an electrical fire. That's probably one of the biggest ones to note. But apart from that, yeah, just also you can ring up Truma and just get any technical advice from them. They're pretty good on the phone as well. Pretty much could do it on our own. We just needed my friend Julian to help us just lift the diesel out. An easier way to do that would be just to take it out if the tank was empty. That'd be a lot easier. We decided to take it out when it was like half full. But yeah,
super easy.
Super easy. It just took a while because we were building the rest of the van as well as trying to install the Combi as well. So we pretty much didn't finish off our ducting until we could put in all the vents and through the cupboards. So we couldn't really turn the unit on until the van was fully complete. And that took a while because there were so many decisions that we had to make with other parts of the van, and the Truma just got put off. But now it's all complete, it's all finished, everything's all nice.